Welcome back to the Tech Zone. I am Paul Amadeus Lane. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I mentioned it in the first segment of the show. If you watch Pixar or Disney content on Netflix, no more. After 2019, Disney is entering the realm of streaming content. It's going to change the game. If you're a Dish Network survivor, really a survivor, a DirecTV subscriber, things are going to change. A cable subscriber is going to change. You can always tell when something is brewing, when they offer killer deals when it comes to the packages and things like that. The writing's on the wall, streaming content. And my next guest, who I had an opportunity to talk to at Comic-Con 2017, is streaming content. Danger and Eggs. Maybe you remember watching that. Maybe your kids watching that. Well, you can check it out on Amazon Prime Instant Video. Had an opportunity to talk to 3 voice actors. I'm going to mention their names because you may not be aware that they were the voices on Danger and Eggs. Charlene Yee. Jessica Nicole. Remember Jessica from Friends? She was Asterisk on Friends and also Kim on Scandal. She's a voice on Danger and Eggs. And a particular sassy, take no mess, New York detective, Rosa Diaz. Does that ring a bell, her character? Stephanie Beatrice. I had an opportunity to talk to those 3 ladies and ask them just about the show and what they hope to accomplish.
She's a smart one.
Come on, Charlene.
You said something really good today.
Oh my God. We never get to hear enough from Charlene. Anyway, I would say what's important about this show is that it's super diverse, and not just diverse in terms of, what the skin color of the characters are. It's diverse in terms of ability, sexuality, gender representation, gender identification, all these really cool mental health. Thank you very much. All these really important things that the real world deals with that you don't always get to see in media and very rarely get to see in cartoons. I think that this show is trying to bring a light to it in a way that doesn't feel like it's, pointing it out and saying, hey, you're so different, but saying, hey, we're more alike than you even think, because, we're all human and we all have these like really different things about us, and we can celebrate that instead of point it out and make you feel, out of line with everybody else.
Different about being a voice actor than doing some motion acting, because I know you're a great motion actor. Love the show that you're on.
Thanks.
But how's it different? And you too, how's it different from doing like a sitcom or a drama and now doing voice acting?
Well, I mean, you're kind of in a vacuum, right? Like for this show, we were all recording in a booth by ourselves, so you're just making everything else up. So you got to just fully use all that like childlike imagination part of yourself. And there's like sometimes on television, I don't know if you guys have felt this way before, but like television and film, sometimes like physically I get sort of like, where am I supposed to do? And like, how do I look? And and then this, it's like, you just don't care. And there's no nerves about how you look. So you're just doing everything physical that you can to like get in your space, and like you're using your body in all these different ways and like really transforming yourself to make that voice come out of your body and make it as sort of real as possible. Even though it's a kids show, you're still trying to do your best work. So there's a lot of freedom in it in a weird, cool way.
When it comes to, I guess, the feedback that you guys have gotten from the show, a lot of parents are really encouraged by having some content out there that the kids can watch. And talk about how important that is.
I don't know. I guess when I was a kid, there was very few things I relate to, and I like things with substance that has heart and is emotionally challenging me. And so I am a grown woman, and I find it very interesting and challenging, and I respect that. And I think as a kid, I would have so appreciated to have this cartoon.
I was just going to say, I also, in line with what you're saying, I feel like they're assuming that the kids who are watching this are intellectuals. It's not pandering down to, the lowest common denominator with the fart joke, although everybody loves a fart joke. They have a place everywhere. But they're also dealing with themes that I think a lot of people don't think that kids are ready to handle. And we're not really giving them the space to be these, individuals that are forming their own opinions about things. And they can't form opinions about these big topics if they're not being introduced to them at a young age. So that's another thing I think that is really exciting about Danger and Eggs on Amazon.
I'd like to thank the ladies who voice some of the characters in Danger and Eggs for joining me. I'm telling you, Stephanie Beatrice, you know her character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Rosa Diaz. She's like real hard and doesn't take any mess. Sometimes you see a smile, but she has such a beautiful smile. When I first met her, she was like, "Hi." I was like, "Rosa, don't beat me up." No, but she was super cool, super cool. Next up, we had a chance to talk to Mike Owens, A.D. Bryant, who plays D.D. Danger, Saturday Night Live fame, and Eric Noble, who plays Philip, and the Pigeon Lady. Got a chance to talk to them too. Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I love being a part of this show, and I'm so thankful to the creators for letting me be in it. I love playing Dee Dee. She's such like an energetic, I don't know, ready for adventure kind of person, and I'm not always that way, so it feels really fun to get to be her voice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's really great. We got supported on so many things, like really cool LGBT issues, and then we got to do traditional animation, so the animation looks really good and smooth, and we had plenty of time to write, so I think it turned out pretty funny, and we got like our dream cast, so it's just been like an incredible experience, and I think it's coming through. People are saying a lot of really nice things.
Yeah, and just having working with the artists that were working on the show, when they would be doing the work and laughing as it's coming out of their pencil, and just like everyone just brought their heart to it, which was and just it shows in the final product.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think heart's a good word, too. Like, there's a lot of the emotion, there's a lot of the heart, but there's also, like, so much comedy in it, too. It's just, like, a super fun project that works on kind of every level everybody was trying to make happen. So, yeah.
And what I've been really liking is the feedback the parents have given the show. And that has to be really cool to see parents like, hey, this is some content that my kids really like and it's teaching them a lesson.
Yeah.
Talk about how that makes you all feel personally.
Well, we definitely had some lessons, I guess, or some themes of the show. Yeah. And when you're doing that, you're like, oh, is this like really preachy? But the one comment that I've read over and over again is it's not too heavy-handed. And I'm like,
yeah, it's always
right? Yeah, I feel like there's a line. And I guess we didn't cross that line. So the parents are like loving it. We're getting unbelievable messages, and the press has all been good. There's been one negative Amazon review since it came out, and we're dealing with that person.
We're hunting
personally.
them.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I also think is really cool is that like so many adults have said that they really enjoy the comedy of the show and that it's like enjoyable for them to watch with their kids. It's not just a kid's show. Right. So I think that's like something to be so proud of, you know?
Yeah, that was really important.
We thought about that when we were starting to create. Like we really wanted to consider that we weren't doing a single level layer kind of show. Like we really wanted the audience as wide as possible.
We started working together on Yo Gabba Gabba, and that was like a really important part of that show, and we just wanted to like keep that design and that energy, but that we wanted parents to be able to watch with their kids for sure and try to make that happen. So it's good to hear that that's working out.
Well, if you get any more negative reviews, I grew up in the hood, I can handle that for y'all. Right?
That's what we need.
The username is. No.
I got your back. But when it comes to, I guess, ones who haven't watched the show yet, what kind of spill can you give them as far as why they should watch the show?
Ooh, I think they should watch this show because I truly have never seen another show like this. And there are so many things about it that I think they will find nowhere else on television. So that's a cool thing. Yeah.
And I think for people, if you like to laugh and you like comedy, then you'll like the show.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's great catching up with you guys and much success.
Thank you.
We'll call you about the
the
guy.
Yeah.
I got your back.
The next Amazon Prime instant video show we will look at for kids is Niko and the Sword of Light. What it does is it follows little Niko around, and he's able to bring some love and justice to the world. Instead of me trying to explain to it, had an opportunity to talk to a few of the creators and also one of the writers, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Kay Asadera. I'm a co-creator of Niko.
I'm Jim Bryson, also a co-creator.
Adam Jeffco, another co-creator of Niko.
And the last co-creator, Bobby Chu.
All right, so talk about the process of even creating the show and also it being on Amazon Prime for kids. I think it's amazing because kids need some good content. What was like the mindset of getting it all together? Who wants to go first?
Well, it was really just a ultimate dream that we had to create a world, create characters that were all our own, and let's put it out there before anybody touches it. And then we put it out there and everybody loved it. So it's been just a roller coaster ever since.
We all had a big love of comic books growing up, and really Niko was our kind of homage to all those comic books, you know, brought to life, all the awesome characters, the adventures they would go on. So this is our kind of homage to all that.
I just tried to think of the weirdest stuff I could think of, and then just like put it in there.
From the mind, Jim, into the show.
Weird and fun and also educational and just a positive influence for the next generation to grow up with.
And that's really huge. Some positive, creative things that our kids need because let's face it, there's a lot of content out there that damaging our kids, you know, and it's good to have some good, clean content. And when it comes to getting the storyline together, where do you guys get your motivation from?
Rob.
Yeah, our writer, developer, Rob Hoagie, he's been monumental in the creation.
Yeah, he comes up with scripts, and then, you know, we do drawings and stuff, and it's like his crazy imagination, and then we get to draw it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the main character. We'd like to talk about the main character.
Niko. Sure. I mean, he's basically a 10-year-old boy that is born to be a warrior, kind of the savior of the land, as you say, fighting the forces of darkness. And he comes out early. He comes out as a kid. But it's that innocence and the playfulness that really makes him stand out, you know, why he's the one that succeeds. Maybe kids can teach us more than we think, right?
Yeah, they can, because kids make us remember what it's like to be human sometimes. Absolutely. You know what I mean? When it comes to attitudes, when it comes to maybe prejudices out there, you have kids that can teach us a lot of lessons out there. Yeah. And what's been some of the feedback of the show? Because I think today it debuted on Amazon Prime. Is that right? Friday. Yeah. So have you guys gotten any feedback from it yet?
Well, we did have a pilot that scored really, really high and lots of really great feedback already. It won the Emmy in 2016, which was very rare for a pilot to win that. So it's been more than wonderful. It's the ultimate adventure show, I think, for kids.
That sounds awesome. Is there anything else about the show you would like the public to know or parents to know about it, so we can make sure it's here for a long time? So what do we want to tell them?
It's not just for the kids; the adults will like it as well.
Yeah, this is a big one for us. You know, like we didn't want it to just be a kids show because adults often watching the show too. But so we made it for everyone. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I know, like an adult, but like myself, I've never grown up. I still watch cartoons. So like and what do we see nowadays with the difference of cartoons or content for kids over about 2 or 3 decades ago to where we see it today? Well, what are some of the challenges in creating some really informative and also things that can keep the kids' attention, because attention spans have changed over the years, especially when it comes to adults and children. So what's the challenge of keeping ones engaged?
I think one of the big things about our show is that the lessons and everything, they're kind of slipped in there with adventure, fun, different creatures, different worlds every episode. You've got to kind of sneak in the good stuff that you want them to learn.
Without them knowing that it's sneaked in.
It's also the pacing, as you said, like, you know, the pacing of stuff has changed so much now, so we just pack this show with like awesome characters, monsters. Like every episode he's fighting these different beasts with like 20 tentacles and eyes, and so it's kind of like the kids have so much there to get their teeth stuck into.
Yeah, and he's not even fighting them, he's like releasing them from their cursed, the darkness that has overcome them. So he's freeing them. This is a non-violent show too, which was important to us. You know, there's enough violence in the world without us adding to that, right?
So it's kind of like channeling the Captain EO when Michael Jackson freed the person from, remember the old ride Captain EO, because the beauty was in the gift, right? That's what it was, right? So let's also talk about the voice actors that you guys have chosen to play the different characters. Who'd like to go first?
I mean, Tom
We just
Kenny
have the best crew.
They're all. I mean,
Yeah,
they're amazing.
We were lucky. We got some of the best talent in LA right
And
now.
they've totally brought a next level to the personalities of every character. Like Niko and Lyra with Tom and Kari did an amazing job with it.
Yeah, you have the innocence of like, the voice of Niko, who's like only a kid, with his veteran voice actors. It makes a wonderful, outcome.
It's always nice to talk to creators and just ask them about their vision of bringing this to final completion. Think about it, folks. This started as an idea to what we see today. Also had an opportunity to talk to one of the writers, Rob Hoagie. Had a chance to talk to Rob a few years back at WonderCon when it was in Los Angeles. And he was a part of the Thunderbirds A Go production and writing staff, and had an opportunity to catch up with him and ask him about Niko and the Sword of Light.
So great to see you again.
So talk about your new project.
Well, I am doing this one here. It's called Niko and the Sword of Light. It is a fantasy adventure animated series streaming now on Amazon Prime. It follows this kid here, Niko, who's 10 years old and has been given the responsibility to save his entire world from the forces of darkness, which that's a lot of a responsibility for a little kid. But fortunately, he's got a few friends to help him along the way. And our first series follows him on this epic journey across the lands, having adventure along the way, on his way to the ultimate battle between good and evil.
And one thing I like about it, because when the pilot, I think was it last year, the pilot debuted, and one of the big, I guess, really would impress parents, nonviolent.
Yes.
Now, why was that so important?
Well, there's so much out there right now in terms of, I wouldn't say violence, but, heavy action. And while this does definitely get intense with the action, we wanted to make this in a way that actually showed sort of the silver lining of that. So in the case of Niko, when he battles a monster, he actually isn't vanquishing it forever. He's actually curing it, because in this world, a plague of darkness is spread across the land, corrupting the lands, corrupting the creatures, turning them into monsters. So one of the things Niko does is he's turning things back to normal again. So he's more of a helper than a hurter, to put a phrase on it.
And one thing I like about it is that it really appeals to not only kids but also adults too.
That's true. We really wanted to make this an all-ages show. Although, at the face of it, it is a kids animated series. It's being made by grown-ups. And, we love making this show. And so we've really instilled a lot of our own sort of passions and influences in this as well. And so, our approach to storytelling is to really do something that can function on all levels, whether it's, the sort of the richness of the storytelling, the sophistication of the humor, even just the plain fun of it. It really is a rousing adventure.
And how is creating children content or kid content different from over 20 or 30 years ago? Because nowadays kids have a shorter attention span, even adults do too. So talk about just all what's needed to make sure that keep everyone engaged.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I actually premiered Teen Titans, the original series, 14 years ago this week at Comic-Con, and watched a couple of the original episodes with my kids. And as amazing as that show was, it was really slow paced compared to what we're used to now. We have to pack in a lot more story in a shorter amount of time. It used to be we'd have 30 minutes to do an episode, and now we're lucky if you get 11. We're fortunate in this one; it's a full half hour. But we really do need to sort of keep the stories going, and that's just part of the fun.
Are we starting to get the theme? Streaming is taking over. When you got Disney getting ready to do that with their content, then Superman is scared. So we have entered the age of video streaming. Get on board, do it. Don't resist. In the words of the Borg Queen, resistance is futile. Isn't that right, Sean? And plus, you can stream us too. Yes, you can. But hey, thanks so much for being a part of this edition of the show. We hope you enjoyed all of our interviews that we had. Next week, we'll continue our theme talking about some Comic-Con, talking about some other tech news out there that are making headlines. But remember to always connect with me, Paul, AmadeusLane.com. And thank you so much for your support. Until next time, take care of yourself, folks.